on the 28th of October. As you all probably are well aware now, we are holding the meeting under the recent regulation brought in to allow us to take decisions in the virtual world. Hopefully today you will be able to hear everything that's going on in the meeting. However, if there is a technical problem, we'll ask the chairman to adjourn the meeting and reconvene when the technology is permitting that. We'll also add that a copy of the recording of the meeting today will be made on the Council YouTube channel within the next 2 to 3 days. Please can I ask that all members remain muted until invited to speak by the chairman, and can I also ask that the chat facility that is available is only used for attracting the attention of the chairman when you wish to speak, and not to be used for any other comments or any form of debate. Thank you. We do have one member of the public registered to speak today, and at the appropriate time we will unmute them so that they can make their representations. And the format today will be as per the agenda in front of you today. So I'll hand back to the chairman, or sorry, I'll hand over now, sorry, to the monitoring officer to conduct the roll call. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Milk-Hewish. Good afternoon, members. When I call out your name, if I could ask you to introduce yourself and to confirm that you can see and hear the discussion. Thank you. Councillor Barber, please.
Good afternoon. I can hear and see everything. I represent Burnham on Sea. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Barber. Councillor Bartlett.
Hello, it's Councillor Alexia Bartlett for Dunware Ward. I confirm that I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Councillor Betty.
Good afternoon, Councillor Anthony Betty, Kings Isle Ward, and I can hear and see everything. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Councillor Bolt.
Brian Bolt, Ward Member for Cannington and Wemden. I can see and hear the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Bradford.
Good afternoon, all members. Councillor Alan Bradford representing North Petherton, and I can hear and see everyone quite clearly.
Thank you. Councillor Bruce.
Good afternoon, everyone. Councillor Hilary Bruce, member for Bridgewater Fairfax, and I can hear and see everything. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Councillor Caswell. Councillor Caswell.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, members. Councillor Mike Caswell, councillor for the Quantots Ward. I can clearly hear and see you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Clayton.
Yeah, Councillor Peter Clayton, Burnham-on-Sea North, Chairman of Sedgemoor District Council. I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Costello.
Thank you. Councillor Wedmore Mark Ward, I can see and hear. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dudridge, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Councillor Lance Dudridge, Bridgewater Victoria Ward, portfolio holder for customer access and digital delivery, and I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Councillor Dyer.
Yes, Councillor Ian Dyer, Cannington, Wemden Ward, I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Councillor Facey, please.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Present and correct. Facey can see and hear everybody. Thank you. Burnham-on-Sea North, ma'am.
Thank you. Councillor Filmer.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Councillor Bob Filmer. I'm the member for Knoll Ward, and I can see and hear the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Finneran. Councillor Finneran? No? Okay. Councillor Gibson, please. Councillor Gibson? No? Okay. Councillor Gilling, please. Councillor Gilling? Okay. Councillor Glassford, please.
Good afternoon. Councillor Alec Glassford representing Fairfax. I can see and hear clearly.
Thank you. Councillor Godwin Pearson.
Good afternoon, Graham Godwin Pearson here from Axvale Ward. I can see and hear everything clearly. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Granter.
Yes, good afternoon. Councillor Graham Granter for Fairfax Ward, Bridgewater. I can hear and see everything loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Grimes.
Good afternoon, Councillor Tony Grimes, Barrow and Breen. I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Harvey, please.
Good afternoon, Councillor Harvey, Burnham Central. I can see and hear.
Thank you. Councillor Healy, please.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Mark Healy, representing Puritan Wellavington, including Cossington Ward, also the portfolio holder for commercial asset management. Thank you. I can see and clearly hear everything.
Thank you. Councillor Haywood. Councillor Haywood. Okay. Councillor Human, please.
Sorry, Councillor Haywood managed to unmute.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Haywood.
Councillor Tony Haywood, Eastover Ward, Bridgewater, and I can see and hear everything now.
Lovely, thank you. Councillor Human, please. Okay. Councillor Keane, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Janet Keane for Highbridge and Burnham Marine. I can see and hear everybody and everything.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kingham.
Yes, good afternoon. Councillor Stuart Kingham, ward member for the West Poldens, and I can hear and see all.
Thank you. Councillor Levy, please.
Good afternoon, Councillor Liz Levy for Hamp Ward, Bridgewater. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Councillor Lilly, please. Councillor Lilly.
Sorry, I've got apologies from Councillor Lilly.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Matthews. Councillor Matthews. No. Councillor McGinty, please.
Yep, Duncan McGinty here. I can see and hear everything. East Polden representative and leader of the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Methley, please.
Councillor Lisa Methley here from Cheddar and Shipham. I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy, please.
Councillor Mike Murphy from Burnham North. I can see and hear everything.
Thank you. Councillor Pay, please.
Councillor Julie Pay, representing the Quantock Ward. I can hear and see everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Pearce, please.
Good afternoon. Yeah, Councillor Kathy Pearce, Westover Ward, Bridgewater, and I can see and hear everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Perry, please. Councillor Perry. Councillor Redmond, please.
Councillor
Redmond.
It's Councillor Redmond. I'm having connection problems, so I've dialed in, but I can hear everything.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Councillor Redmond. Councillor Revens.
Good afternoon, Councillor Bill Revens, representing North Petherton Ward and leader of the Liberal Democrat group. Thank you. Can I confirm I can see and hear everything?
Thank you very much, Councillor Revens. Councillor Riches, please.
Good afternoon, Charlie Richards from Cheddar and Shipham, and I can hear and see you all.
Thank you very much. Councillor Mrs Scott, please.
Good afternoon, Councillor. It's Councillor Liz Scott here from the Axvale Ward, and I can hear and see everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Slocum, please.
Good afternoon. I'm representing the Bridgewater Wyndham Ward, Deputy Leader and Portfolio for Inward Investment and Growth, and I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smedley, please.
Yeah, hello, there's Councillor Brian Smedley, Bridgewater Westover, leader of the Labour group. I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Woodman, please.
Councillor Woodman, West Huntsville and Paulet. I can see and hear everything clearly.
Thank you very much. I'll just go back to the ones just to check if any others have arrived, please. Councillor Finneran? No. Councillor Gibson?
Yes, Councillor Finneran is here. I apologise. I had some problems getting into the meeting, and I can now see and hear everything and have been able to for about 5 seconds.
Thank you very much, Councillor Finneran. Councillor Gibson? No. Councillor Gilling?
Councillor Andrew Gilling here from the Knoll Ward, portfolio holder for housing. I can hear and see everything clearly. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Matthews, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm having problems. Yeah, Councillor Matthews representing Burnham Marine and Highbridge, and I can see and hear everything.
Thank you very much. And finally, Councillor Perry. No, Councillor Perry is clearly not with us. That's it. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you, Melanie. We have some officers to introduce as well. If we could start with Allison Griffin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Allison Griffin, Chief Executive, and I can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Doug Bamsey.
Good afternoon, Doug Bamsey, Strategic Director. I confirm I can hear and see everything.
Thank you. Bob Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bob Brown, Strategic Director. I can confirm that I can hear and see everything.
Thank you. Melanie.
Melanie Wellman, Assistant Director and Monitoring Officer, and I can see and hear everything. Thank you, Chairman.
Excellent. Thank you. Alison Turner.
Sorry, Chairman. Alison Turner's on leave this week. It's Tim Mander here, Service Manager, Property and Commercialism. I'm covering for Alison this afternoon.
Excellent. Thank you. And Andrew Melhuish.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Andrew Melchior from Democratic Services, supporting the council meeting, and I can see and hear everything loud and clear today. Thank you very much. I'd just also like to say Councillor Hendry has just joined the meeting, so if we could get Councillor Hendry just to confirm that he can see and hear everything. Thank you.
Yeah, Sedgemoor District Councillor Alistair Hendry, Burnham on Sea Central, and yes, Mr. Chairman, I can see and hear everything clearly. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I think that's everything. So if we go into the agenda proper, again, just a quick mention, if you do wish to speak, please could you use the chat message rather than raising your hand. If there's more than one hand raised, I can't see who's asking to speak. So please use the chat. Apologies for absence, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Today we have apologies from Councillor Bayliss, Cordner, Crow, Human, Lilly, Rodriguez and Wong. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others from the floor? I don't think there was. Any declarations of interest? No, I'll take that as a no. Item 3, the minutes. You should have had minutes circulated for the 29th of July. Can I sign those as a true and accurate record?
So moved, Chairman.
Thank you. Unless there's anybody against? No. Thank you for that. Chairman's announcements, I don't have any. Congratulations, though, to the Apex Park and Marine Co for their flag award, which I'll be raising next week. Thank you. Public speaking, we have one member of the public wishes to speak, and that's Helen Phillips. I believe that's now the time. Andrew.
Yes, Chairman. There is also a presentation which will accompany the speaker, which, if you can just bear with me a second, I'm just going to load up so we can all see that, and then we'll unmute the speaker to allow her to make her representations. Just one moment, please.
Thank you.
Chairman, could you just confirm that you can now see a presentation that says infrastructure delivery on your screen?
Nothing so far.
Yeah, was that him?
What are you doing?
I'm doing council meeting.
Oh.
Do you
How
need?
long is that?
Still nothing as yet. Oh, yep,
Yes.
we got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Is it possible for muted, or is there a problem there?
I can't unmute her, I'm afraid. It's not possible.
Okay, if we could ask the speaker to just hang up from the call, and we will redial. Is that possible, please, from you, Layla? So, Mrs. Phillips, if you could just hang up on the call just quickly, and we will call you back into the meeting, and you should be able to be connected and speak. Hello, Mrs. Phillips, can you hear me?
Hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. That's fine. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. We had a problem with the with unmuting you. So you are now through to the council meeting again. Chairman, if you'd like to, if you're ready, then we'll start the public speaking time.
Yes, if you could go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could just point out, I can't see what's being presented. I'm very grateful for your colleagues who are going to turn the pages, I think, as I try and read through. But I'm happy to start now if the person who's got the button is happy to start.
Yep, absolutely. Carry on.
Yes, please carry on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so good afternoon, members and officers of the council. Thank you for your time. I wanted to speak on agenda item number 9, which is the infrastructure delivery review. And I wanted to firstly thank the Task and Finish group for the work they did, and to commend their recommendations to you based on local experience and knowledge as a resident. Particularly ask that you support option 1 or possibly 2, which is to accept or to amend positively the recommendations, and really just to stress the importance of this. I know there's many things on your agenda. This one is quite time sensitive, and particularly I would highlight the recommendation 4 and 6, which is the urgent need for improved monitoring and enforcement, more resourcing, and also some budget being put aside for remedial actions. And to put some in context to this, you've invested a lot of time in a local plan, which is, draws out the importance of infrastructure delivery in a timely way to avoid having just housing estates, but having sustainable communities. Sedgemoor is ambitious for growth and has been successful with housing numbers and income generation. These large-scale developments, which are happening around, take many years to build. I've lived here 10 years. There's still a massive building site all around me. It places great strain on the community. So the timely delivery of infrastructure is vital for mitigating some of that strain. Many of you will know that Oliver Twist quote, "Please, sir, I want some more." Was he wrong to ask for what was needed for a healthy life? So are we wrong to ask for the necessary and promised obligated infrastructure? And why do we ask Sedgemoor to increase their provision in supporting that? When there was greater resource, we did have a better flow of information from officers, and we saw progress made on some of the stickier pieces of infrastructure delivery, and this has slipped back with resultant harm to the community. And if you were going to make amendments, it would be that there was more resource possibly to your community development team as well, who also are great but are under-resourced. If I think of the Woolstock as an example of where things have really fallen back, there's some images in front of you, hopefully, of the largest cul-de-sac in Britain, I think. There's over 750 of us trapped by what were busgate bollards and now anti-tank traps. It's not pretty, it's not welcoming. It means we've only got one way in and we have to turn around and go back out. We have a country park. It's not recreational. This is how we get to our shops, our school, our provision, but we can't get there because there are bridges missing, and they have been for years, and the paths are incomplete and impassable. There are stiles that only the most agile can get over. And what the community's taken to doing is putting down pallets, putting down pieces of wood and stones to get around the place. There are delays and breaches in section 106. You may see some images of where it should have been a mugger in 2014 and where it should be 2012. There isn't a mugger yet, and there are hundreds of children, literally a generation of them, who've grown up without the promised mugger. There's also one play area, and this is low spec, 10 years old. Some of it has literally rotted away. And in a development this size, there should be leaps, laps, muggers and leaps. None of this is here. We have one play area. There's a wonderful hub that we've been hoping for many years, waiting for 10 years. You can still see the space where it should have been, where it's now going to be. It's a £1.2 million project, which is fantastic. The volunteers have come forward to work on it, but should that only provision be provided for by volunteers? And we would really like some extra support and an injection of cash to help it happen. I've jotted down some remedial actions, things like completing the paths, enforcing the obligations, recruiting extra capacity within your own organisation, practical help and finance for the Woolstock Hub project. And just thinking about Woolstock as a whole and thinking, actually, where does this fit compared to the wonderful local plan and the policies you have in there? So I'd like to end with a proverb: do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it's in your power to act. We're a strong community. We pull together. We try very hard to work with the officers. Doug Ramsey and others will know us because we try to work with you, and we know you try to work with us, but we really do. And it's not because we're greedy. We genuinely have some needs. I ask you to think positively when you see the paper, and ask for you to support the recommendation. And in a timely manner, please put this in your budget for next year. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank
we
you.
have a response. Jill, are you responding to this?
I'm responding to this, Chairman, and when it gets to agenda item 9.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, we move on then to item 6, recommendations from executive and other committees. Councillor Duncan McGuinty, carry forward requests.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Members will see at 6.1 there are 3 recommendations for full council to approve carry forward payments. I'm happy to recommend them for adoption. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Slocum, you're seconding?
It's so moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any debate, members? Can't see anything in the chat, so I'm going to suggest, rather than do a roll call for every vote, I'm just going to ask for anybody against or abstentions. So I'll take it that everybody is in agreement unless I hear from you against. Unless anybody particularly does want to vote, then I plan to do it this way rather than keeping you all here for many hours. Okay, so we'll go to the vote then. Anybody against or wishes to abstain on 6.1? Give you a bit of time. I haven't heard anything, so thank you very much, members. That is carried. We move on to 6.2, contract standing orders. Julie Pay is going to propose this, I believe.
Thank you, Chairman. Happy to recommend this to full council and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll need a seconder for that.
Happy to second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any debate, members, on this one? Can't see anything in the chat. So we'll go to the vote on that one. Anybody against or wishing to abstain or wishes to have a recorded vote? No, can't see or hear anything. So that again will be carried. Thank you very much, members. Move on to 6.3, initial medium-term financial plan. Councillor McGuinty to propose.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. There were 6 proposals in front of you today to do with the initial medium-term financial plan 2021-2026. members will read into it that it is the initial. It will be updated as we go through the budget process. I hope members will be able to support it today in its journey through to budget set. Happy to recommend for approval.
Happy to second that proposal, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any debate, members? Yes. Councillor Revens.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Three minor points I just want to just query. First of all, there are sections in red type in the report. I just wondered what the significance of the red type was. Secondly, there is speculation about the future of the new homes bonus in the report. I noticed recommendation 3. Do we have any confirmation of what is happening with new homes bonus in the current situation? And on item 6 in the recommendations, the 250,000 for the strongest Somerset bid, am I correct in assuming that all 4 partners in that bid are submitting the same amount of money towards that, please? Thank you.
Councillor McGinty, can you answer that?
Well, in reverse order, yes, all local authorities, district councils within Somerset will be contributing in the same way. What was the previous one? Some of it is in red type. What's the significance of it? They were late entries to it so that it could be highlighted from the original initial medium-term financial plan. So that's just updates that have taken place since it went through the executive. And the previous, what was the other question? I missed that, Councillor.
I'll happily repeat. There is reference to the new homes bonus in the report and in the recommendations. Is there any indication as to the future of the new homes bonus? Because I know it was its future was in question when we heard a few meetings ago. Thank you.
Yes, and our understanding still is that its future is still in question. It was to be wrapped up as part of the new funding settlement that local authorities would be given during the funding review, but that funding review has been put back at this moment. So we're assuming, and I think that's on reliable sources, that new homes bonus will continue at least for next year. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Leader. Councillor Phil Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not a question on the report itself, but in fact on the appendix, Appendix A, which is the COVID funding allocation. I noticed that we have an allocation of 110,000 for reopening High Street Safety Fund, but so far we've only spent 9,700 on it. And it does say criteria have to be met to be able to draw down the funding. I just wonder whether it's possible whether the criteria would be met also by town and parish councils. The 9,700 is less than Burnham Town Council has actually spent on reopening High Street safely with the employment of safety wardens. But I'm not sure whether that is covered. If it is covered, could I ask that we actually do try and draw down some more money from the government and pass it on to the town council? Bridgewater may well be in the same situation, but obviously I don't have any knowledge of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McGinty.
Yes, I'm not sure I can give the chapter and verse on this, but I'm happy to follow that up with something in writing. My understanding is that it will be drawn down throughout the year. It is funding that is available with fairly strict criteria attached to it. I'm not sure whether Mr. Bamsey may be able to shed any further light on that, but if not, happy to provide written response.
If I might, Chairman, the Leader's absolutely right. It is pretty strict criteria, but it is over a period of expenditure for quite a long time. So, but as Leader's just said, we're happy to give a detailed response to you, Councillor Harvey, by way of writing.
Lovely. And if you could copy in the town council, Burnham Town Council clerk, that would be useful.
Yep, will do.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. No other comments? We will then put that to the vote. Is anybody against or wishes to abstain? No, that is then carried as well. Thank you very much, members. 6.4 Economic Development Strategy. Councillor
Thank you, Chairman. I'm happy to propose what is an excellent document, I think, for now and for the future. But without further ado, I think the portfolio holder would be better placed at this point to provide further information.
Thank you very much, Leader. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I am truly proud to present this economic strategy today. This strategy gives us the way forward for the future projects designed for Sedgemoor. Its aim is to transform the Sedgemoor economy to a knowledge-based economy, and central to that is clean and inclusive growth. Developing the knowledge economy of Sedgemoor to provide good quality jobs, and developing a highly skilled workforce that is resilient and can meet the needs of the economy of the future. Added to the importance of providing good quality homes, this in turn allows for good quality, healthy communities. The strategy has been to the executive's scrutiny and is now here today. So if I may, Mr. Chairman, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you for their input, which is absolutely important. On the strategy's journey, I've listened intensively to the executive members, the scrutiny, and other councillors who have added their bit, and I appreciate it very, very much. I'd not normally name names, but I want to thank our planning management team and our inward investment team for the tremendous job they have done and are doing. From a member's point of view, I'd like to thank Councillor Lee Gibson. I don't think she's here today, but I want to thank her for driving one of the most important factors in all our lives is climate change. Climate change, that is really vitally important to us all, and none of us forget it, but I have to say she speaks very passionately about this, and this is uppermost in all our minds throughout this council. So I want her to know, and all the council, that we are driving forward. I'd like to also thank Councillor Hilary Bruce for her input on scrutiny regarding keeping our homegrown students in Somerset and Sedgemoor. Whilst we do not have universities yet in Sedgemoor, we must recognise the importance of ensuring our post-grad students come home to good jobs, good prospects, and build on our economy so we can benefit from their expertise. I'd lastly like to thank Councillor Evans. He has given me a great idea where a university could be placed in Taunton. Excellent idea, Mr. Evans, and one we may be able to pursue, who knows? The strategy belongs to us all for a good and strong council. No matter what our future holds, we have a strong basis to be the lead for the future, whatever is put before us. This strong strategy shows strong leadership and overlaps into other authorities. This is the way forward, and I thank you all for your input, and I really mean this because this does belong to us all. So I'd like to ask this council to agree to the final adoption of the refreshed economic development strategy as part of the council's wider policy framework. And as you will see, there has been an endorsement from both the leader of council and myself, which you received a second copy. Apologies for the first one, didn't have it in, but I'm happy to answer any questions or indeed I have officers here if I can't. Thank you very much.
And you're seconding that, yes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm seconding that. Thank you.
Councillor Brian Smedley.
Yeah, I'd just like to say, obviously, as mentioned, we reviewed this at corporate scrutiny, and it's a very well written document, as stated, and I appreciate the cross-party working on it and the comments made by Councillor Slocum. Then the aspirational intent of the document is very praiseworthy, particularly its numerous mentions of the climate emergency and green solutions and all this. We won't oppose this, of course, because we want Sedgemoor to succeed in this strategy. And it's well written, it ticks all the right boxes, and of course, if it does turn out to be a hollow box of promises, then we will oppose it, but we hope it won't, we suspect it won't. So we will support this.
Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor Smedley. Any other debate before I put this to the vote again? No, can't see any more. Anybody against or abstaining, please? And that is again carried. Thank you very much, members. Item 6.5, Treasury Management Activity. Councillor McGinty.
Thank you, Chairman. Just for members to note the activity that's taken place to date, and I'm sure members will agree that our in-house Treasury Management team and our returns have been reasonably good this year, despite everything that's going on. Who knows what the future will hold, but this is just to note the activity report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, members? No. So Members happy to note the report. Anybody against? No. Excellent. So that's noted. Item 6.6, the engine room, High Street, Bridgewater. Councillor McGuinty.
Thank you, Chairman. Members will know that we have a fine establishment based in Bridgewater that provides services and activities and film and radio for the whole of training for the whole of the district. And this is to give them the ability to extend their services to a couple more floors. And I hope members will be able to support the recommendation.
Excellent. Councillor Slocum, you second?
I'd like to second the recommendation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any comments, any debate, members? Yep, we have one that's up. Brian. Councillor Smedley.
Just want to make the point that the engine room is a very valuable and innovative project in Bridgewater. It's been so for several years now. Sedgemoor has supported it very well over the years. I'm glad to see it supported again, and particularly at this time. So we'll be supporting this recommendation. Thank you.
No other comments. I will then put this to the vote again. Anybody against or abstaining, please? Excellent. So that's carried once again. Thank you. Item 7, moving on, portfolio holders reports. And we start with Leader of Council, Councillor Duncan McGuinty. I think you're still muted, Duncan.
I am indeed. Happy to present the report.
Any questions? No. Oh, Councillor Smedley.
It's been a difficult time, obviously, for this council, and so I'd like to thank the Leader of the Council for the way he's conducted engagement with members and leaders during that period. I think that needs to be noted. We've obviously want to support the council as much as possible during this time and work as best across party as we can, particularly during the COVID emergency, and even more so during the unitary debate, because we all want to see the most appropriate democratic outcome at the end of this. I'd like to ask the Leader if there are any more developments today about the unitary situation. The Stronger Somerset funding was approved earlier on, but also I would like to ask, as we go into this next phase of the COVID emergency, whether he's confident in the response from the County Council in relation to the school meals situation, which the government is in a bit of a problem about at the moment. And I wonder whether he'd confirm that Sedgemoor is happy with the county's response to this and that they're on top of any solutions locally, or if he sees any problems emerging from that.
Thank you. I think it's a really difficult subject, the school meals, and I'm sure that none of us would want to see any child go without food in any situation, but particularly at this time when many families are stretched financially and need every bit of help. The County Council have been given money to provide for these situations. And the one thing that we will be doing as a local authority is pursuing the County Council to ensure that they actually fulfil their obligations to what is, of course, our communities as well as. On the unitary debate, there's no real further update at the moment. Reports will be coming forward to Council for approval. We will do what we can to involve every member of the Council in the preparation of that, and I did give the assent this morning to, as soon as we have any further information on the business plan updates, we will provide them to the opposition group leaders and have a Leader of Council's liaison group meeting in order to get any feedback that will help enhance the document as we move forward. It's just unfortunate that the government timetable that's been set doesn't really make it possible for us to have a scrutiny meeting, but if things should change, we would want it to have been considered by scrutiny. But at the moment, we will try and involve every member as best we can as soon as we have any further information. But the basis of the business plan is there. We've all seen it and agreed it already. It'll be changes to that as we move forward, and I hope members will be able to participate as much as they wish to in that process.
Excellent, thank you. Councillor Bill Revens.
Thank you very much. Councillor Smedley quite rightly commented on the cross-party and invitational style of leadership you've shown during this pandemic, and I just wanted to mark my appreciation of the way the council's been led at this time, and I think it's been a very constructive way of proceeding, and I look forward to that continuing in the future, and would also associate myself with the comments that you make around our wonderful staff and all the work that they've done in supporting our communities through this difficult time. Not everything has gone perfectly, but everything has been done with the best of intentions, which is all that we can ask in such trying times. Councillor Smedley's already asked my question on local government reorganisation, but I had a second question, which was around the procedures of this council. It is some time since we've had an ordinary council meeting like this one, and hence I think is the reason why we've ended up, I think, with 30 different PDF documents, which we're all trying to juggle on different devices and so on. There is nothing in our constitution that says there should be a regular ordinary meeting of council. Could we have a commitment that ordinary meetings of council could be quarterly? In other authorities, they have been held regularly through this pandemic, and I know we've had full council meetings, but we've not had this ordinary meeting with the reports and so on, which are vital to holding council to account and for our democratic purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to thank both opposition leaders for their comments on the cross-party working. It certainly made things a lot easier for us and our communities to be as one through this. And I'd also share your hope and wishes that it will continue as this pandemic continues, and perhaps beyond. Who knows? With regard to council meetings, I think we're now back in the regular cycle of council meetings, although we will be having one or two extra special ones in order to take through specific items that are time limited. But as far as I'm aware, we're back in the regular cycle that's published yearly.
Excellent, thank you for that. Can't see any other questions for the leader, so we'll move on. Deputy Leader in Inward Investment and Growth, Councillor Slocum. Any questions for Councillor Slocum? Can't see who that is. Councillor Charlie Riches.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sure that we all support the continued assistance that council is giving to our three main towns. Clearly, these sort of drive the economy of our area. But can I ask for an update on assistance that is being given to businesses in our smaller communities? I think it's very important that there will be due regard in post-COVID recovery plans for small communities, for the district as a whole. And I'm sure that members who represent village areas will be eager to work hand in hand on future opportunities. So it'll be nice to just have a little bit of an update on sort of what opportunities are likely to be available outside the three main towns. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Richards. At the moment in time, I don't have the answer to that. I think at the moment we're dealing with businesses, we're dealing with obviously people in hardship, we're dealing with many factors. There is the government's Bridgewater Towns Fund. There are other funds probably coming forward, which I will be able to, but if you would allow me to do a further update on that and get back to you, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair. I'll look forward to that.
Thank you. Councillor Kathy Pearce.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is on item 4, the planning white paper. We did look at this at the last community scrutiny meeting, and there were concerns raised about the reduction of the proposed reduction of the democratic element, and also there seemed to be not enough regard to the climate emergency, which is a continuing issue, I would say, on planning issues. Could you remind us, please, of the response to government on the white paper that you've mentioned?
Yes, thank you, Councillor. And what we've done is the white paper has been sent in. We have obviously all of those points that our working group is a cross-party working group. So climate change was obviously very high on our agenda. We've talked in great detail about that. We've talked in great detail about everything that people mentioned and we felt that was necessary to put into our response. As you know, it's a working group. Our officer has delegated authority. It doesn't need to go to executive or full council, but we did take on board everything that was put forward to us. So your points and others were greatly received and they have been presented. Whether the government, as we know, takes any notice of ours and many others' opinions is another question, but I can assure you everything was taken on board.
Thank you. Councillor Hilary Bruce.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Councillor Slocum, for your report. It was just a question really about the town deal. Obviously, that kind of funding represents a huge opportunity for Bridgewater. I'm really interested to see the results of the survey, to see what sort of proposals have come forward from local residents and businesses. I just wondered if and how those results will be published or made available to members and members of the public.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Bruce. Yes, at the moment we're collecting. This is a government-led scheme, so we're very much pigeoned on how they want to deliver it. But obviously, when we've got other meetings coming up, there'll be many meetings coming up before we actually present the bids to finalise the bids. So there will be an opportunity, I'm sure, for everyone to be able to see. But at the moment, we're not there yet by any means.
May I come back on that a second?
Yes, certainly.
So just to be clear, will we actually see some of the survey results before we get to see what bids are going to go in?
I will certainly see. At the moment, that's not been specified, but I don't see no problem. I think once they've got, it's an independent people that go through this. They go through it and they look at it. So it's independent. It's not any experience from anyone else. It's independently looked at. So I can assure you that I will certainly ask whether that can be available. I don't see any issue at all.
Thank you, Councillor.
Excellent. I can't see any other names, so we'll move on to infrastructure and transport. Councillor Mike Caswell. Any questions for Mike? Can't see any names as yet. Yes, we have Councillor Bill Revens.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I noticed that there's a brief comment about the Bridgewater barrier in Councillor Caswell's report. I just wonder where we are with the funding for the Bridgewater barrier. As I recall, a bid to the Housing Infrastructure Fund was not successful. Have we had feedback on that? And what other sources of finance are we exploring to bring forward that vital infrastructure?
Well, Councillor, as you know, we are very much a part funder of this, and most of the funding is coming from central government and the Environment Agency. We have a meeting at the end of this week, and we should have more of an indication, I hope, at that meeting as to the funding. It is going to go ahead. I can assure you of that. It's in the process now of having written representations. There will be no full public inquiry about it. We just need to make sure that all the little bits are in line and we can proceed. This is a vital project, as you know, for the protection of not only the local area around there, but also around North Petherton, Moorland, Fordgate and everything like that will benefit from the flood protection. So we have to make sure that this is going ahead. We will ensure that it is adequately funded. But as I say, our bit of the funding is we contribute to it. The rest of the funding will have to come in from central government and the Environment Agency, etc. As soon as I have some information on that, I will, of course, let the council know exactly where we are.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Councillor Caswell, for that feedback. I wonder whether you had any feedback from why the HIF bid was not successful.
I don't, but I will find out for you and get back to you.
Thank you.
Chairman, I don't know whether Mr. Bamsley might be able to shed some light on that at this time.
I forgot Doug was here. Yeah.
Thank you. I can do, leader and portfolio. The HIF bid process was difficult insofar as we weren't entirely clear what the criteria was. It wasn't successful, as the portfolio holder has said. The feedback we got, I think, effectively was that the degree and scope of our mixed bid wasn't necessarily seen as fitting with the criteria. What has happened since then, though, is a range of opportunities have opened up to pursue, which we are following through, including talking still to Homes England. We're also talking potentially to the SRA for a local contribution to funding. But of course, we're all working on the positive news announced by the Chancellor some time ago now that there is funding nationally. So it is about local funding, but there's a variety of sources we're following up on that together with the Environment Agency. We will keep members regularly updated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Councillor Charlie Riches.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick comment. Councillor Caswell mentions about the increasing problem with ash dieback. And just to mention that I'm sure we're not alone here. We've had a very high quote to the parish council for removing dead or dying trees on parish council land within Shipham, and I imagine that other communities are also going to have quite large impacts on their budgets. And I'm just wondering if going forward this is something that could be, considered to see if there's any help or assistance, or maybe a district plan. Thank you.
Okay, well, I can certainly sort of comment really on what the Quantock Hills Joint Advisory Committee are doing, the JAC, of which I vice chair and our council vice chairman sits on. Unfortunately, this is having, as I said in my portfolio report, a devastating effect upon the Quantocks around Broomfield and Cothelstone and things like that. These trees, and I quite agree with you on this, they look perfectly healthy one day, and the next day you go along and they're absolutely dead. You touch them and they fall over. It is there are some photographs available on the JAC website, and I think you all ought to have a look at them, especially the road that leads down from what used to be the Pines restaurant down towards Taunton there, and the actual road is widened considerably because of the ash is just dying as we speak, and of course then we get the honey fungus in it, and that makes it even worse. Would have to look, I suppose, really at if there was to be any funding, but that would have to be a bid from whoever to our grants committee, I would suggest. But it needs to be a report that's brought forward. Okay.
Chairman, could I say something about that?
Carry on, Councillor Scott.
Yes. Oh dear, my phone's ringing now. It's just that the Mendip Hills group said that the Somerset Trust are actually doing some work on the trees. So maybe Charlie could actually get in touch with the Somerset Trust, and they may have funding or help available.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was only, I will say that I was only talking from the position of the Quantock Hills JAC.
Excellent, thank you for that, Liz. Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to say that this matter was raised at the Leaders Liaison Group today, and we've tasked the landscape officer to do some investigative work to see what funding is available either nationally or locally that could be made available for those areas that are in need of it.
Excellent, thank you for that. No other questions for Councillor Caswell. I shall move on then. Customers and digital delivery, Councillor Lance Doddridge. Any questions for Lance, please? I'll give you a second in case you're typing. Nope, doesn't seem to be any coming through. We'll move on then to housing. Councillor Andrew Gilling. Any questions for Andrew?
Yes, Chairman. Sorry.
Please, Scott.
Yeah, sorry, my chat message won't work. Yes, Councillor Gilling, in Axbridge, in Cheddar Road, there's planning permission for 20 houses, and Sedgemoor has given some money towards the building of these houses. I just wondered if he could let me know when they're likely to start building there, because I've had several inquiries from local residents wishing to live there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cathy Pearce.
Oh, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, my question is on item 11, homelessness and housing advice. On the fourth paragraph down, you mentioned Turning Point in giving some training and advice, but I just wondered what the involvement of Turning Point was here, because addictions play a large part in homelessness, and I just wondered how involved they were in working with the housing team.
Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, we can hear you. Carry on, Andrew.
I'm sadly not in a position to be able to answer that question. It's a topic that is of great importance, I appreciate, but nevertheless, the officer involved with homelessness, Mrs. Stillwell, I'm sure will be able to answer your questions, and if you want me to get her to respond in writing, I will do so.
Yes, please, I'd like that. Thank you.
Yep, thank you for that. Any other comments for Councillor Gilling? Yes, there's leader again, is it? Pictures are very small.
Yep, thank you. Sorry, I just want to say that, yes, Sarah Stillwell is using Turning Point as partner in much of the work that we're doing. It's seen as a key area as part of the homelessness, and we will continue to use them, hopefully for a long time, provide an excellent and valuable service. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Andrew? Can't see any, so we'll move on then to Mark Healy, commercial and asset management. Any questions for Mark? Yep. Councillor Smedley.
Yeah, in relation to the investment section, I'm aware that there's a follow-up meeting shortly about this, and that I sit on that body. I don't want to break any commercial sensitivities. I just wanted to ask the portfolio to reassure members of the council that when considering investments, that they'll definitely be considering ethical trading partners in this, and that they'll be looking at green solutions as a priority, and also to consider local investments in this, which would give some confidence to the area. And that's not decrying the fact that Sedgemoor's put £15 million into Northgate recently. We're specifically looking at the property investments opportunities that we're going down the road of at the moment with some large sums of money.
Thank you, Councillor Healy.
Yeah. Thanks for that question, Brian, if you don't mind. You know, we're looking at things retrospectively. I'm personally very pleased with what we've done so far. As you say, you sit on the board with us, you know, you make a really good, valuable input as well. Clearly, we're looking at all possibilities. I can reassure everybody with the council and beyond, our investments have been really good. Okay, without giving any commercial sensitivity away, which you'd appreciate, everybody in the council will. Yes, there's a couple of instances where we're looking at rejigging some of the finances for a couple of people, but that's, you know, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm pleased to be able to sort of sit here in the confines of this virtual office of mine and state the fact that we have a meeting afterwards, you know, with the Property Investment Board directly afterwards. Yes, why wouldn't we be ethical in everything we're trying to do? Sometimes you've got to appreciate that we've got to be realistic. It's not always possible, but it's part of our raison d'etre to look at that situation. So hope this is going to answer your question. Be assured, the whole council be assured that we are we're moving ahead cautiously at this moment in time. Clearly, why wouldn't we? But we are still looking at investing in certain projects. We don't know what they are. But again, to answer your question, moving more locally, yes, we are discussing possibilities of what we can do locally. I'm not at liberty, if you don't mind, to be able to share that with you at the moment. But as I say clearly, without waffling on any further, directly after this meeting, we've got a property investment board meeting where we'll be discussing other items. But as soon as we've got some information that I can share with the council, I'll be more than pleased to do so. Hopefully that does answer your question, and the council hopefully are reassured by my words. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mark. No other questions, so we'll move on again to Communities and Wellbeing, Councillor Janet Keane. Any questions for Councillor Keane? Yes, Councillor Bartlett.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for the report. This is a very interesting report. I'd like to ask specifically about point 2 for the family safeguarding model. My questions are, I have a number of questions. Specifically, what does it aim to achieve? How will it benefit our wards across Sedgemoor? How can we be involved as ward members, if appropriate? And finally, how long will the training programme last? I'm interested to know when this is likely to go ahead as a programme. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. The recruitment and so far, this is very much work in progress. I had a sort of overnight update, and the recruitment has not yet been completed. But very often that particular family safeguarding, that works very closely with our Together teams. But you asked for the involvement of ward members. Did I hear you correctly there?
Yes.
Yes.
If any particular ward member has received calls from a resident asking for help in signposting, if you could take details and in fact either forward your query to me or directly to the Together team that works mainly with your area, they would be able to offer immediate advice on how best to deal with whatever is the situation that is of most concern at that time. The other question was how long it will last?
Yes, I realise there's a training programme and posts have to be advertised and filled. So I was wondering how long this kind of process is actually going to take before we can begin to see it operating across the district.
I do not have that information, but I will go back to the officers who are administering this, and I will ask for a written reply to be sent to you.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Cathy Pearce.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is on paragraph 3, climate change. As you say in your report, the county and district strategies will shortly be going through council, and I know you've been really involved on both, and I know that you treat these strategies really seriously and have done a lot of work on them. You say in your report that there is much outside of the local authority control, and there's some things that people personally can do, which is true, but there is also stuff within the local authority control. And it was really what assurance can you give that the things that are within Sedgemoor District Council's control to change will be put into action, please?
Thank you. And I put this paragraph in because the whole report is really to demonstrate to council all the different aspects of each portfolio holder. I'm not sure that it would be right to use this meeting to go into any detail because this entire subject is going to be subject to a very large amount of your time and others for scrutiny, and then again at a special full council meeting in a few weeks' time. And those would be the times when those specific questions should be answered.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? I can't see anything else, so we'll move on then. Thank you, members, for that. Item 8, committee chairman question time. If I go to Councillor Bob Filmer to start, please. Any questions for Bob Filmer?
Thank you, Chairman. Just one correction, if I could make on my report. About halfway down the first paragraph, it makes reference to the fact that we're now operating on our normal schedule, and it says it's fortnightly. In fact, of course, it's 4 weekly. But just wanted to make that correction, please.
Excellent, thank you. No questions for Councillor Filmer? Then I will move on. Licensing and general purposes, Councillor Polly Costello.
Hello.
Thank you, Polly. Any questions for Polly? Nothing coming up in the chat. So I'll move on. Corporate scrutiny, Councillor Brian Smedley. Anything to add, Brian?
I have nothing to add, but I would just draw members' attention to the departure for a period of Rose Stokes, who's helped us during the last period as a scrutiny officer. I think it's she's done a great job. She will be on a period of absence now, and I hope that council will have adequate measures in place to replace what she's not going to be providing during this time. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any questions for Brian? Nothing coming up in the chat. Give you a few seconds. No, thank you, Brian. Community scrutiny, Councillor Kathy Pearce.
Chairman, I'd just like to echo the words of Councillor Smedley about our scrutiny support. It's been she's done a great job, so I hope we can continue that with that level of support.
Excellent, thank you. There are no questions coming up. Oh yes, Leader.
I just want to say I've noted the comments that have been made by both scrutiny committee chairman and we will look into what is going to be done to support you in the immediate future. Yeah.
Excellent. There have been no further questions or comments. Moving on to item 9, recommendation from the Corporate Scrutiny Committee. Councillor Brian Smedley.
Yeah, I'd just like to draw members' attention particularly to the presentation by Helen Phillips at the beginning of this meeting, and to assure members that we had a lengthy consultation on this subject with various task and finish meetings, including councillors of all parties and the entire independent group as well. And also we've included different concerned people represent different areas where they've had great concerns about this issue. I think we've come up with a reasonable solution outside of this. The 7 recommendations here, I'd like to put them all forward from us on that one. I hope the council will support this and take on board this serious attempt to address what is a problem of mainly miscommunication over the years.
Thank you, and I believe Jill, you're going to second the recommendations.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to say a few words, if I may, as being the portfolio holder. I would just like to take the opportunity of personally thanking Mrs. Phillips for coming and giving an excellent presentation today and raising the points at the scrutiny meeting as well again as today. These are ongoing issues regarding Stockmore and Wilstock, and they are separate from the more general debate and conclusions of the scrutiny committee. And they are addressed, or we want them to be addressed to obviously existing planning and enforcement issues, but they need to be dealt with as soon as possible, and I recognise that, and they will be. However, even though these are specific areas, the scrutiny committee meeting did an excellent job, and I would like to thank each and every one of the scrutiny committee, because I think you have done an excellent job of addressing all these major points that have been brought up by the speaker this afternoon. Much of what the scrutiny committee raised is being enacted as we speak. We are doing, I would say, the planning are doing a marvellous job, but there are areas, communication, there are areas which need to be dealt with, and they will be dealt with. And I think that this is a long going, but the personal areas that need to be dealt with will be dealt with on their own. But I would just like to thank, as I said, all of those on the scrutiny, because it did pick up what we were already trying to achieve, but it now has embodied it into what we want to go forward with. So I'd like to thank you very, very much, Councillor Smedley, for you and your team. And if there's any other questions, obviously I'll try to answer. And I have also Andy Redding, our Principal Planning Officer, here as well, if there's anything more technical that I'm unable to answer. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That has been proposed and seconded. Go into the debate. Councillor Bill Revens.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, Councillor Wong, who put forward this resolution some time ago, can't be with us today for family reasons, and I know he shares my appreciation of the work that's gone into this report and this task and finish group, and from the scrutiny committee and the officers who've contributed to it. It does go some way to alleviating the concerns that we've seen built up. Obviously, there's a major impact on our ward of North Petherton with the Stockmore and Wilstock developments, but there are lessons that could be learned from that, which could be applied across the whole district. And I hope that those lessons will be taken on board. I fully support the recommendations that have been put forward. I would like to understand a little bit more about how we will know that these recommendations have been effective in the future, and would hope that maybe we could have a report back on the success, so that we can make sure that these recommendations are fully put forward. But I'd also reiterate other concerns that we have about infrastructure, particularly I noticed around school numbers. The proposed school in Wilstock is still not going to be delivered for another 5 years, according to the County Council. We had a planning application in Willavington a few weeks ago where the maths for the school numbers did not look right, and I questioned the delivery of that in the planning meeting. So it really is important that we keep on top of this. It's going to be an ongoing issue with the growth agenda, and I hope that these issues are taken seriously and are properly funded. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Councillor Slocum.
Thank you very much, Councillor Revens. I think you're absolutely right. The bit I forgot to say was that obviously we'd like to come back to scrutiny with regular updates on what we're doing. I want to be accountable. I've only been in this job a year, but I've learned a lot. And I think to be accountable, and the one thing we want to have is absolute transparency, that you know what's going on. Your members of your communities must be happy, must be pleased. You know, for your Mrs. Phillips to come today, it shows the passion, it shows the commitment, what she wants to achieve, and I want to achieve the same. So I want everyone to be reassured. We will do utmost. The planning management has done an amazing job over this COVID period, absolutely incredible job. And I thank our chairman, Bob, for that. He's done a marvellous job, and our vice chairman, Tony Grimes. But I would say to you that these are lessons. We can always improve, and I intend to work with our team and make sure that we let you know exactly what's happening. So please don't fear that. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Slocum. There's no other comments in the messaging, so then I will move on to a vote. Is anybody against or wishing to abstain?
Councillor Pearce has got a hand up.
Sorry, I can't see that. Councillor Kathy Pearce.
If I have, it's a mistake.
No, it's the sun. It's the sun. That's what it is.
Right, so we'll move to the vote then. Anybody against or abstaining, please? Nope, so I'll take that as carried. Thank you very much, members. Moving on to item 10, members' question time. Questions with notice, there are none. Questions without notice, members, please. Any questions at all? Doesn't look like anything is coming forward, so that leaves me to say excellent meeting, members. Very much appreciated. Thank you, and meeting closed.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Good afternoon all.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.